Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, something a little bit different for you, but I thought you might find this fun, maybe interesting. Right, Endless Swarm Tyranids. So, if you've been following my channel for quite some time, you'll know that I have one or two Tyranid lists that I usually like to use. And they're pretty hard-hitting monstrous creature lists. My Morlock list, for example, with 3 Morlocks and 2 Flyrants. Tervigon at the back, you know, pretty mean nid lists. My buddy made a comment in one of my previous games, basically saying that he has trouble taking out monstrous creatures. And I thought, fair play. And I thought, well, hey, maybe that could be a challenge for myself. So I thought, how about I make a Tyranid list with no monstrous creatures in it? I thought, that sounds like a good challenge. And that's what this video is about. It's about making an Endless Swarm list with no MCs. Now, this is what I like to do with my lists. I do like to change things up rather than playing the same list, you know, week on, week out. I've always found it's good to mix things up, and sometimes just having a little theme. For example, if I'm doing Necrons, I might say, right, I want to play like 2 squads of Death Marks, and I'll base the whole list around that. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm starting with the Endless Swarm mainly because if I'm not going to have monstrous creatures, then obviously I'm going to have lots of little guys, and what better way to have lots of little guys in the Endless Swarm formation. So in this formation we've got to have 3 squads of Hormagaunts, 3 squads of Termagants, and 1 unit of Warriors. And that's where I'm going to start my list. Now, all of these units have the Endless Swarm rule, which basically means that when they're wiped off the table on a 4+, they can come back. So that sounds good to me, sounds like fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out some minis, excuse me, and these minis are going to represent units. So, for example, I'm going to start off with some Termagants. So this guy here, he's going to represent 20 Termagants. Now, right from the bat, this is not a competitive list. This list is for fun, and from the fun point of view, I'm not going to hone this in to be as competitive as I can get it. So on my Termagants, for example, all of my Gants are going to have Devil Gaunts. Now, competitively, that's not right, because ideally you should have probably about 15 Devil Gaunts and 5 normal Tervagants, Gants. How confusing. Okay, yeah, the Termagants should ideally at the front just have the normal guns, not be upgraded, because they're going to die first. You save the bigger guns for the back, but I'm going to keep this simple for me, when I play the game on the table, so I'm going to have a lot of bugs on the table, and also because I'm not worried about being like hyper competitive, and a few points here and there wasted is fine by me. So I'm going to start off with 20 Devil Gaunts. I'm going to have another 20 Devil Gaunts, and then I'm going to have another squad of 20 Devil Gaunts. So that's Gants. So yeah, got my Termagants there, 60 of them, and they can all come back when they die. Now, in terms of models, I only have 40 Hormagaunts. So ideally, I think I would have liked to have gone for 3 squads of 20, but I'm unable to do that. I don't have physical models. So what I'm going to go for is I'm going to have 1 squad of 20 Hypergaunts, as I like to call them. Basically, they're going to have Toxin Sacs and Poison. 1 squad of 20 of those, and then I'm going to have 2 squads of 10 basic Gaunts with no upgrades. So that would give me 20, 10 and 10 plus the 60, so that's 100. 100 little bugs on the table. Now, the other thing that you have to have is you have to have a brood of warriors. So this guy here, if I've got enough room, have I? Let's move these back. So this guy here, he's going to represent a brood of 3 warriors. And that's my formation there, 103 minis. That can potentially all come back. That's a good start. So keeping with the theme, obviously if I'm going to have lots and lots of little Gaunts and Gants running around, I'm going to need some Synapse. So right off from the bat, I'm going to have another 2 squads of 3 warrior units. That gives me the ability to spread my synapse around a little bit more. Of course, I'm going to need a HQ. There aren't that many choices for the HQs, but I'm figuring again I want to keep the synapse there, so I'm going to plumb for the Tyranid Prime as my HQ choice. Now he can either join a squad of warriors, probably the ones that can regenerate, because they're probably not going to get shot as much as the ones that can't regenerate, or potentially I can embed him in the back somewhere with one of the Hormagaunt broods to help give me some more synapse. I haven't got enough angle on this. Right, there you go. So I'm sort of guessing a direction now at the list. This is how I built my list, so I thought it'd be just interesting for you to see how I went about it. Okay, so now I'm thinking I've got these Gants, they've got some nice supports there in terms of synapse, but they are going to be potentially moving out quite fast, so I'm going to need some fast moving synapse. Now usually that would be the Flyrants. Of course I don't have Flyrants. So now I'm thinking of embedding some Shrike. Now, don't get an opportunity to use Shrike that much, so I thought this would be a good opportunity. And I've actually plumbed for 2 smaller units of 4. I don't expect them to survive that long, but they're there to embed some synapse as I move forward, and I think they'll do the job quite nicely. Now, running alongside that, I'm going to have some more fast-moving stuff. I'm going to have a unit of gargoyles. I'm going to go for 16 gargoyles. Now, rather than splitting the gargoyles, I'm going to go for one big squad, and they're literally going to probably just end up being at the front, just to give everyone else some cover saves, I would have thought. But failing that, they'll be flanking. It depends on the situation. But yes, I've got some gargoyles there. Okay, so next up I'm thinking I haven't really got much anti-armour in there really. Everything's strength 4. I will have barbed stranglers, by the way, with the warriors rather than venom cannons. So I'm still thinking synapse. I'm going to need as much synapse as I can get, and I'm also thinking I need some anti-tank. Now, of course, I'm not going to be able to take drop pods because those are classed as monstrous creatures, and that's one of my criteria, is no monstrous creatures. So there's only one real choice, I think, and that's going to be the Zoanthropes. So I'm going to have a unit of 3 Zoanthropes, and of course we've got snaps in there as well, so just sort of a double whammy. So I shall have some Zoanthropes in there. That leaves me with approximately 300 points. Had a long, hard think about what I could put in this list, but I want to keep with the Endless Swarm theme, and what better way than that than infiltrate 2 squads of Gene Stealers up front. So I've got 2 squads, I think it's 9 Gene Stealers, and they're going to infiltrate as far forward as possible. Not one monstrous creature in sight. Gene Stealers do have rending, so I could potentially be another vehicle killer, but obviously vehicles are going to be a struggle for me, especially flyers. But I've got so many monsters on the table, so many little critters that, okay, if you've got some tanks, and okay, if I can't take them out, I'm going to swarm that board. I'm going to swarm the objectives, and my plan will be literally old school, line up and charge forward, and I can't wait to play this game. It's going to break my back having so many minis on the table, but it's going to be fun. It's just a one-off list. I'm just going to play it once probably, but I'm really looking forward to it, actually. I think it's going to be really great fun, and I think that's what I want to try and get over to you, is you don't always have to take the meta stuff, the best stuff, the best units. Just play with anything that you want to play with, basically. Make a reason. Try and find a reason to play with models that you want to play with. I want to play with my Shrikes. I want them in my list. So yeah, they're not that great, but if I can get them in my list somehow, then I'll have a go. And a one-off game with something different isn't going to hurt. So yeah, that's my list, the Endless Swarm list. Really looking forward to playing this. I haven't played it yet, so you're seeing this before the battles actually happened. But I'm going to have my game shortly, and I shall record that and make a battle report. Should be great fun. And yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this little video. Thanks for watching.